Hi, it's Greg Michaels with K12EducationMatters.org, and we're here with Lester Laminack. And Lester is brilliant. I mean, if you ever go to a workshop or a conference and you have a choice to make, there is no choice. I'm telling you, see Lester. He's an amazing guy with both children's literature and professional resources. And I didn't tell him I was going to say all that, so he's turning a little red.
But anyway,
Lester, you and I were talking downstairs a little bit, and you have an exciting new project coming up that will be published by Heinemann pretty soon.
Right.
And it's about bullying, and there's a lot been written and said on that topic. And I was just wondering, if you could enlighten us as to why you felt it was important to add your voice to it. And of course, my view is that when your book comes out, there probably won't be a lot much more left to be said on the topic. But
nice.
Why is it important to have a book like that? And you just share some things with us.
Sure. When I started, I've been interested in the topic for a long time, and some of that is personal history. But when Tyler Clementi jumped off a bridge here in Rutgers a few years ago, and we started seeing a lot of attention on the news to all of the young people taking their own lives, then it became really clear that there's something that needs to be done. Because the bullying of my generation tended to be face-to-face, and it might be a punch in the arm, it might be a shove in the locker, it might be some kind of insult or comment. But we live in a world now where a child can say anything anonymously online,
right.
and post things and post pictures, whether they're accurate or not, or in Tyler Clementi's case, just a little webcam that's catching moments that are not anybody's business. And then once that's out in cyberspace, there's no damage control for the victim. And so many of them feel so hopeless. And so you see things like the Trevor Project, like It Gets Better, and you see some other projects, but most of them are directed to young adults and college-age students, high school, middle school. Very little tends to be directed, that I've seen, to elementary students. And that's where a lot of the behaviors begin, because you're setting an expectation in a particular culture and a set of practices and beliefs as early, as preschool, in terms of how we choose to pick on someone who falls outside of the box. So my colleague Reba Wadsworth and I decided that what we needed to do was to look at a way to get kids to understand why individuals participate in bullying behaviors, and to understand that as human beings on the globe, whatever it is about you that makes you human is present in every other being, regardless of where they live or where they come from or what the differences are. All of the pieces that make you human are present in every other person. So we start with that premise, and we created 5 collections of text. Each collection has 5 titles. We move through 5 layers of essential understandings, each one scaffolds for the next, trying to build some empathy, some awareness, some conscious notion that as a human I'm like everyone else. There are differences among us, but those differences don't pull us out of the human family. That there are times when people choose the difference as a target and say things that are unkind, and how we might react to that, and the roles that bullying behavior can fall into. The idea that when there is a situation, there often are 3 or 4 characters present: a bully, a victim, and then bystanders who may simply be a witness doing nothing but observing, or bystanders who may step in and try to do something and divert the attention. And the more we make kids aware of those possible roles, the better, to know what your possibilities are, how you should react. And then we move to a level where we're recognizing that sometimes people can be really cruel and hateful to one another. What that looks like, how to recognize it, what you might do to react to it, and why it might be happening. And then the last layer is to look at a set of books where there are characters who are being mistreated or targeted because they are different in some way, but they have certain character traits that cause them to move beyond it. and not be affected by it. And we're looking at those characters that have some enlightenment in terms of understanding their own worth in the human family, and recognition that, you know, no difference makes any of us fall outside of the scope of things, and having the strength to stand up to it or just to let it repel and move away. And the idea also that in that layer there will be children who step in and instead of being silenced by the power that a bully is trying to garner, using their own power to neutralize the bully and step in with the victim. And the more we do that, the less power bullying has.
That's what's fascinating to me. You're explaining that downstairs a little bit.
And we look in the beginning of the book at so there's a lot of very practical, common sense kinds of things to do. 25 children's books that we've chosen, and then we've created a pretty long list of picture books that we listed as a resource in the back and organized by each of the 5 layers, so that if there's a picture book you feel like is too immature for your age group or too mature for your age group, then there are alternatives in the back. Or if you feel like there's a book that's culturally sensitive for your particular area, then there are alternatives in the back that you could look at. There's some resources on building community in the back. And then in the beginning of the book, we also focus somewhat on what the research says about bullying and the idea of how we react to that.
Well, I'm sure it'll be well done with you and Reba involved. And of course, Heinemann does such a great job with editing.
They do indeed.
You mentioned that it might be available pretty soon, right?
The expected pub date is, or release date is early August.
Okay.
So we're hoping it'll be up and ready in time for the 2012-2013
So
school year.
Title has been chosen by now?
The title kind of waffles.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're we've had titles that are like this long because we're trying to say what it is, and then we've like shrunk it down to like one word, and so we're kind of waffling between a couple. So I'll wait and not say that.
Okay. Well, for internet video, this is starting to run a little long, so I just want to say that, you know, that we do have an Amazon button on our website where you could just type in Lester Laminack, and then you could find the title out that way. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate your